So we were discussing that Pradhana or Prakruti transforming itself into 24 material elements gives us the entire universe and gives us our material body. In whichever body we are, that is all nothing but the combination of 24 material elements. And avidya potency of Maya binds us by its 5 features. Avidya, forgetfulness of our original identity, that we are part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Asmita, we get a new identity based on the body in which we are residing. Raga, we develop friendship with our close associates. And Dvesha, we develop enmity towards those people who are obstructing our enjoyment while living in that body. And Abhinivesha, so before we die, we want to enjoy as much as possible. By the way, we commit so many mistakes and we sins or whatever it is we can say, and we are bound in this material world. So the way to come out of this bondage is taking shelter of Vidya. So Vidya is nothing but the Vedic literatures which talk about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, also Tapasya, Vairagya, etc. etc. So Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks about all these things very elaborately, starting from chapter 2 all the way up to chapter 18 very nicely. The same thing is again repeated by Lord Kapila in Teachings of Lord Kapila. Chapter 25 talks about Bhakti Yoga, 26 talks about Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga, 27 talks about Tapasya and Vairagya, 28 talks about Ashtanga Yoga, 29 talks about Bhakti Yoga and also the power of Kala. 30 to 32, 3 chapters talks about Karma in its 3 features. So it is known as Vikarma. In the mode of ignorance, people perform sinful activities, that is called Vikarma. In the mode of passion and goodness, people practice Sakama Karma for the purpose of fulfilling their material desires. And in the mode of goodness, people practice Nishkama Karma in order to purify their heart of all the material desires. So these are the various things that which we are going to discuss in our teachings of Lord Kapila, systematically all these things. But before getting to this, in Vedic culture, traditionally the execution or follow of all the different angas of Vidya would happen like this. So the boy, the student, when he goes to Gurukul, so under the control or under the supervision of the Guru, they actually do 2 things: keeping my senses and mind under complete control, and studying Shastra. Studying Shastra is called as Swadhyaya. So of course, Swadhyaya, study of Shastra, includes many different subject matters, but one of the most important subject matter that a student studies in the Gurukul is Sankhya. So whatever that is being discussed in this current chapter, so what we are going to discuss is generally studied by a student in the Gurukul itself. That is the principal subject matter every student whoever goes to Gurukul supposed to study, that is Sankhya. The analytical understanding of these 24 material elements, also about Atma, Paramatma, Prakruti and Kala. So all the 4. So in the Bhagavad Gita, we generally hear that we study 5 subject matters: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakruti, Kala and Karma. So Ishvara, Jiva, Prakruti, Kala, those 4. In addition to that, Karma. So karma is karma is all due to our body. So that body contains 24 material elements. So we study about the 24 material elements, and hence we study about karma and also other 4: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakruti, Kala. So like the total 28 elements will be very nicely studied under Swadhyaya, that is called as Sankhya. So after studying all this, after graduating, they come home, get married, then they follow whatever they have studied at Gurukul. So with the background understanding of Sankhya, proper understanding of Sankhya philosophy, they execute either Sakama Karma or Nishkama Karma while staying at home as Grihasthas. Sakama Karma is following all the rules and regulations of the Vedic literature for the purpose of one's own prosperity and happiness in this life and the next life. And Nishkama Karma means following all the rules and regulations of the Vedic literatures for the purpose of purifying one's existence and focusing on attainment of moksha. So those people who practice Sakama Karma, they continue their life as a grasa only, and they die. By good fortune, they may go to Swarga, enjoy, come back, again practice Sakama Karma, again go to Swarga, enjoy, come back. So like that, their life goes on. But those people who have really understood Sankhya Yoga very nicely in the Gurukul and who want to follow it perfectly, they take shelter of Nishkama Karma Yoga. So by taking shelter of Nishkama Karma Yoga, they purify their, what we can say, all the material desires that are there in their heart. And eventually at a right time, they are completely detached from the material prosperity, material happiness, and material facilities. Then they are qualified to get into Vanaprastha order. So entering into Vanaprastha order, they take on the process of Jnana Yoga, undergoing through a lot of austerities. They are taking on a lot of austerities, austere lifestyle, and then eventually, in order to, when they have sufficient amount of detachment from this material world, taking shelter of Ashtanga Yoga process, they will give up the body and attain to Mukti, Sayujya Mukti. That is mentioned. Either they can do this as Vanaprasthas, or they can take to sannyas, and then following the same, either Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, they can attain to moksha. So this is how the traditionally people used to follow, used to practice in general. So from that point of view, Sankhya Yoga, the analytical study of the 28 elements and understanding of their nature in the proper way, plays very important and very vital role in the life of a sadhaka for the purpose of attaining the perfection of one's life, attainment of liberation, etc. That is the whole understanding. Of course, bhakti is there everywhere from the beginning to the end. Bhakti is always there, and so this is the general traditional process. So it is like that. So now, taking reference from this Sankhya, which is supposed to be studied by every student whoever goes to Gurukul under the shelter of Guru. So this is, with that, if one continues in their life, following, going through Grihastha Ashram, Varnaprastha Ashram, Sannyasa Ashram, they are qualified to attain perfection of their life. So that is the understanding. Same thing, Lord Krishna also explains in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, there is a reference comes from Shvetavtara Upanishad, where it said that when a yogi, the traditional sadhaka, yogi means not Ashtanga yogi, but traditional sadhaka, whoever is practicing like the previous order, going to Brahmachari Ashram, Gurukul, studying under a guru, all the Vedic literatures, especially Sankhya, coming home, practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, taking on to Vanaprastha order, Sannyasa order, practicing Jnana, then practicing yoga and attaining moksha, etc. etc. For that person, so how the progression will take place? When that sadhaka, when a yogi realizes the Brahman, by coming to the platform of Samadhi or Jivan Mukta platform, either by practicing Ashtanga Yoga or Jnana Yoga, through the realization of Atma, which is like a lamp. So, by practicing all the austerities, by practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, by studying Sankhya in Brahmacharya in Gurukul, by practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga in one's home, and after taking on to Vanaprastha or Sannyas, by taking on to austerities, after attaining a Vairagya, following through either Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, when one comes to the perfection of Jnana or Ashtanga, that is Jivan Mukta platform or Samadhi, they will realize who they are. They will realize that they are Atma. And then eventually, by the strength of Bhakti, they will also realize Brahman, whose nature is unborn, unchanging, and pure. So after realizing who they are, that is their Atma, then they realize the absolute truth, either Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan, whose qualities are like unborn, unchanging, and pure, completely pure. And then that yogi, that sadhaka attains liberation from all bondage. So, for the purpose of attaining liberation, the sadhana is what is mentioned in the previous slide. And the progression is, first they will realize who they are, then they will realize who is the absolute truth, then they will attain liberation. It's like that. This shows that he who has knowledge about the swarupa of the conscious amsha, or the knowledge about the swarupa of the jiva, is qualified for the knowledge of the Swarupa of the conscious Amshi, the Supreme Lord. First, one need to realize who one is. That one is not the gross body, neither the gross body nor the subtle body, but the Atma. First, that realization should come upon. Then there is the next level of realization is about the supreme absolute truth. For the jnanis, it is Brahman. For the yogis, it is Paramatma. For the devotees, it is Bhagavan. Therefore, first the knowledge of the Jiva is taught to all persons without distinction. Even at the very beginning of one's life in the Gurukul, the knowledge about Jiva, who Jiva is, who Jiva is not, all that detailed understanding is given in the Gurukul itself, in the very beginning years of a student's life. So then, taking this as a reference, Lord Krishna begins second chapter, starting from verse number 16 onwards. Of course, he had already spoke 5 verses, 11 to 15, giving the essence of all the Vedic literatures. So Arjuna was not satisfied with the quick, short answer. So then Lord Krishna elaborates the meaning of those 5 verses, starting from 216 onwards. So with this and the following verses, 216 to 30, Lord Krishna begins by giving the understanding of the difference between the body and soul. So in these 15 verses, Lord Krishna elaborately talks about the distinction between the body and soul. The proper understanding of what body is, what soul is, what are the qualities and characteristics of the body, and what are the qualities and characteristics of the soul are. Since such understanding should not come in the middle of the work. So Lord Krishna at the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita itself talks about Sankhya Yoga, which talks about the distinction between the body and the soul, which is actually very important for a sadhaka to go on following the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This actually acts as the very fundamental principle of one's learning. The understanding the distinction between the body and soul. The soul is Atma. So, this subject matter, which is talked about from 16 to 30, is called as Sankhya Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada actually talks about elaborately about Krishna's Sankhya and Lord Kapila's Sankhya and one atheistic Sankhya, etc. So, we'll not go get into atheistic Sankhya. So, in Lord Krishna's Sankhya, we only have 2 things. One is body, other one is soul. In Lord Kapila's Sankhya, that Atma contains 4 things. So, one is individual soul, the second one is super soul, third one is time, the fourth one is Pradhana. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakruti, Kala. These 4 are included in the category of Atma. And Karma is included in the category of body. So body is made up of 24 material elements. The 24 elements are 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, ether, 5 sense objects, that sound, touch, form, and taste, smell. So they are the 5 sense objects, and 5 knowledge acquiring senses, the ears, skin, eyes, tongue, nostril, and 5 working senses, the mouth, hands, legs, anus, and genital, and 4 internal senses, mind, intelligence, ego, and chetana. So it's like that. So thus, in Lord Krishna's Sankhya, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse number 16 to 30, we understand the distinction between the body and soul. Now in the 26th chapter, we talk about Lord Kapila's Sankhya, where we understand the distinction between what are the 24 elements and who is Ishvara, who is Jiva, what is Kala, and what is Prakruti. So this is the detailed understanding of the 28 material elements with which everything is around us is made up of. So when we have proper understanding of everything that is there with us, around us, we are nowhere in illusion. Will not be any more in illusion. So that is being indicated by this Sankhya Yoga. The study of Sankhya Yoga is very fundamental learning for a student whoever goes to Gurukul in the traditional schooling educational system. So that's why Lord Kapila in the very first words he says that atate tampravikshami tatvanam lakshanam pratak yad viditva vimuccheta purusham prakrite guna. By understanding the nature of these 28 elements, which is known as Sankhya, a jiva will become liberated from the gunas of Prakruti, from the three modes of material nature. Because the three modes of material nature only are binding us in this material world. So we will be liberated from the material existence. So then he says that Jnanam Nishreya Sartaya Purusha Syatma Darshanam Yadahur Varnaye Tatte Hridaya Granthi Bedanam. So I will explain this jnana, I will explain this Sankhya Yoga, and which is actually meant for your ultimate benefit, understanding which one understands the true nature of Atma, the true nature of Paramatma, the true nature of Prakruti, the true nature of Kala, the true nature of the material world, and the true nature of the material body made up of 24 material elements. What is what? The clear-cut understanding will be given by this Sankhya Yoga. By such understanding, Hridaya Granthi Bedanam, the knot in the heart. The knot is nothing but the knot of ignorance, knot of forgetfulness of our true identity, knot of falsely identifying with the body in which we are residing, knot of so many other designations that we possess while living in this material world. We have so many designations as long as we live in this material world. All such false designations will be removed. So this is the benefit of proper understanding of Sankhya, which is supposed to be studied, learned, and understood during one's school days, during one's Gurukul days. So in that way. So then in the verse number 3, Lord Kapila talks about the qualities and characteristics of Ishvara. Ishvara possesses all these qualities. He is Anadi, he is eternal, he is Nirguna, he is without any material qualities. He is Prakrute Para, he is situated beyond the material nature, beyond Prakruti. And Pratyak, he cannot be understood by material senses, he is beyond the understanding of the material senses. Dhama, he has a spiritual abode. If you see him as Brahman, so he has Brahmajyoti. If you see him as Paramatma, he has Kajal Ocean, he is Mahavishnu. If you see him as Bhagavan, he has Vaikunta, that is his abode where he resides. And Swayam Jyotir, he is self-effulgent, and Vishwam Yena Samanitam, and from him comes the entire material universe. So these are the principal qualities of the Supreme Lord Ishvara. And taking reference from Vishwam Yena Samanitam, the entire material world comes from him. The relationship between the Supreme Lord and Prakruti are indicated by this one phrase, and that is elaborated in the upcoming verses. Sayesha Prakrutim Sukshmam Daivim Gunamayim Vibhu Yadruchayopagatam Abhyapadyata Lilaya. As a pastime, he glanced upon Prakruti. It is known as Devi Prakruti, consists of three modes of material nature. So by that glance, he impregnated Prakriti with all the living entities. Whoever want to enjoy separate from the Supreme Lord, all those living entities are impregnated in the Prakruti. So then, by the glance of the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu, the Prakriti grows through transformations and produces all the 24 material elements, combination of which manifests at the entire material world and also all our individual bodies. So that was the understanding between them. So when the jiva comes into the womb of Prakruti, the jiva becomes completely dependent upon Prakruti and becomes bewildered by the byproducts of the Prakruti. So Gunair Vichitra Srijatim Sa Rupa Prakritim Praja Vilokya Mumuhe Sadya Sa Iha Jnana Guheya. Basically, Sa Rupa Prakritim Praja means when Prakruti is glanced by Mahavishnu, Prakruti gives birth to 24 material elements. Now Prakruti means the 24 material elements. Combining those 24 elements, we have the entire universe, and by the combination of the same 24 elements, we have our body also. So when we are residing within our own body, we see the entire material nature analogous to our body. So what is there in our body is there in the external world. So we see both of them are same. So then we see this material body as ourself. By that, we actually forget who we really are. We forget our true identity. The knowledge about our true identity becomes hidden within the core of our heart, and we continue to identify with the body, which is non-different from the Prakruti, which is nothing but the 24 elements. So we get that different understanding as long as we live in the Prakruti. Evam parabi dhyanena kartrutvam prakrute puman karmashu kriyamaneshu gunair atmani manyate. So as long as we are living in this material body, which is made up of 24 material elements, all the activities in reality are actually done by the body. All the activities are actually done by the gross body and subtle body. The mind proposes something, do this. The body becomes forward and does all the activities. It's like that. So actually our gross body and subtle body doing all those activities. But since we are identifying with the bodies, with our gross body and subtle body, we say that whatever is being done by the body, we say that we are doing. That's why we possess this quality of kartrutvam. I am the doer. I am the doer. Whatever activity is done by this body is actually mine. I am the doer. And I am the doer leads to I am the enjoyer of the results of all those activities I perform. So this is what happens under bewilderment, under the identification of the material body in which we are residing. And then Lord Kapila says, Tadasya samshruti bandha paratantriam cha tatkritam bhavati akartu rishasya sakshino nivrutatmana. So this misconception leads to the bondage for the jiva, who is actually not the doer, but only the witness. In reality, Atma in itself is a witness. Atma cannot do anything. Atma only desires happiness. So in order to facilitate that happiness to the Atma, the subtle body and gross body finding out various means, performing various activities to experience happiness within themselves and also to give happiness to Atma. So from that point of view, we are actually witness of all the activities done by the body. But since we identify with the body, we say that we are the doer and we say that we are the enjoyers, and we feel that we are enjoying actually. In reality, we are not enjoying. Since we identify with that body, so we feel that we are enjoying. So this kind of misunderstanding, identifying with the body, thinking oneself as the doer and thinking oneself as the enjoyer, leads to self-created dependence on the material enjoyment. Though he is an energy of the Lord and it leads to birth and death, though he has a form of bliss. Soul by nature, it is Sachidananda Swarupi. Soul by nature eternal. But as long as we identify with the body, we always worried about death, passage of time, death will come. Again, we'll take birth. Again, we are worried about death. Again, we take birth. Again, we are worried about death. So as long as we are living in our body, we try to enjoy as much as possible. Because it's the nature of the soul to be in Ananda. Anandamayo Abhyasa. So something like that. But the desire to experience happiness through material means, through the material bodies, the gross body and subtle body, in various species, actually binds us in this material world. And then Karya Karana Kartutve Karanam Prakrutim Vidu Bhoktrutve Sukha Dukkanam Purusham Prakrute Param. So now the Prakruti expanding herself into 24 material elements, okay, which contains the gross body known as Karya, with which we perform all the activities, the senses, which are the instruments with which we actually express our desire to execute all the activities, and the sense devatas, under whose supervision all the activities are performed. This is nothing but the manifestation of Prakruti in the form of the gross body, subtle body, and the devatas. Here Karna indicates the subtle body, senses all indicate subtle body. Senses are 14 senses we have. The 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, and 4 Antakaranas, Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chetana. So all the 14 senses in that way. And devatas facilitate our enjoyment, our activities, etc. etc. So, and thus Prakruti is the facilitator for us to perform various activities, and the Supreme Lord who is the Lord of Prakruti. He is the sanctioner of our experience of happiness and misery, enjoyment and suffering. It is by the sanction of Paramatma, everything is happening in this material world. By his will only. So we accomplish our activities and we experience happiness or misery. If the activity is supposed to give happiness, we get happiness. If the activity is supposed to give misery, we experience misery. So this is how in the first 8 verses, Lord Kapila says that what happens in this material world when Jiva comes to this material world, by their own desire, independent desire, by the will of the Supreme Lord, the Lord impregnates Jiva in the Prakruti, and Prakruti gives the material world to live in, and also gives the body to live in and to enjoy with it, enjoy in it. And while as long as we are living in the material body, we see that we are the body, and we say that whatever is done by the body that we are doing, and we say that we are the enjoyer of the results of all the activity that we perform. So this understanding actually binds us in this material world. So this is about the nature of Jiva, Prakruti, and Ishvara. So Jiva coming under the control of Prakruti becomes bound in this material world. So it is like that. So this is where we have stopped in the last week. So before continuing from verse number 9 onwards, so it talks about further details about all those things. So just one point, I just did the recap of the previous class. So of course, in the future, we'll understand what are the nature of all these 28 elements vis-a-vis everything in comparison to each other. So if a student studies all these things in the Gurukul and comes home and starts their family life, so what kind of lifestyle that person will continue on? Or if one does not study this and directly takes on responsibilities of household order, and what kind of lifestyle one follows, and especially, and all the congregation devotees are also all parents have children who are going to schools, colleges, and some of them are settled also. So I mean, don't take any offensive or anything, just try to understand the Vedic way of studying and the modern way of studies. So what differences can we can see if a student who had studied Sankhya Yoga at the Gurukul itself in the school days and then leads his life, what would be the consciousness of that kind of student? And a student who studies, who goes through the modern education system and does not have any clue about the Sankhya Yoga, and what kind of lifestyle the modern student can lead. So you can share your opinion, how it makes difference in their life with and without the proper understanding of Sankhya.
Hare Krishna, Dada Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
When the children don't go to Gurukul and understand this Vedic concept of knowledge, they become very much, means material life is their whole and soul. The central thing is the material enjoyment and how I'll get it, how much more I will get it. And they don't understand the Varnashram system, how it should be go with. And that's what I feel, means they become material conscious more.
Okay, what will be the result of that kind of lifestyle?
They again take, they reincarnation, means this birth and death process goes on, Prabhuji. They don't think Ishvara in the center, in the center of their life, and they don't understand the concept of God. Basically, they feel that the God and the demigods are same, and they only go to the demigods only for the material enjoyment, material benefits, and nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Other devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Please go ahead, Mataji. Please tell.
Haribol Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, the same thing was with us also. We have not gone through those schools.
No, it's
So,
okay.
you
See,
know,
you don't have to put ourselves in that place. I mean, just we are just objectively we are trying to analyze. We don't want to put anyone in that role. So don't get. Then normally what happens that you tell.
Normally, Prabhuji, again, they will have to take, means we took, as we, means I'm just giving you an example, as we took time to understand this, even they will take time to understand it. By the time half of their life is over. So if,
I mean, you are telling that they will understand it, but where they will understand? Where and when? Don't talk about devotees in general. Of course, devotees have come to in the circle of devotees, so we get to hear from them. We are taking this as a person, people in general, from the general perspective.
Prabhuji, in current education, it is not possible only because we have been manipulated.
No, don't get into judgments. Just be objective. I mean, be observative. Just make a statement like observator.
They would,
when they face misery,
they would be more responsible.
One at a time.
More responsible and integrated lifestyle they would be following.
Who will follow more responsible integrated lifestyle?
Those who are educated in Gurukul system.
No, I mean, Gurukul system may not be practical now, so keep it aside. So in general, so you say that those who have studied Sankhya properly, they will have a responsible life. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, yes, Mataji, you want to complete what you are saying?
Yeah, when they come across miseries, when they face miseries, that's the time when they start looking for the different options.
Then they start looking for different options when they go through misery.
Yeah, miseries. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other devotees?
Yes, Prabhuji, I feel that the generation nowadays is less tolerant and has less patience. And that is why I think they go very quickly into depression and lamentation because they are not exposed to this Vedic system of lifestyle.
Any analysis? I mean, all of you are parents, you must be observing your children and your neighbors also. What makes the nowadays the children go into the such kind of intolerance, anxiety, stress kind of situation?
Prabhuji, they want a very fast-paced lifestyle and they want very fast results.
Okay.
At least this is what I have noticed in the generation nowadays, that if they are not getting results immediately, then it leads to stress. Also, they believe like they don't know what hard work is.
Okay. Now I will ask some questions, straightforward questions to all the devotees. What are the what we can say? What are the consequences of not understanding Sankhya properly? What are the consequences we are facing through nowadays because of the modern education system where Sankhya is not taught? As some devotees said, impatience, intolerance, anxiety, stress. Any other things?
Greed.
Greed. Okay.
Prabhuji, they don't differentiate between body and soul. They consider body as the everything.
No details. One word.
Frustration.
Frustration or
Collective living. Collective.
okay.
They don't understand the collective.
Okay, fine. Anything
Use
else?
and use and throw mentality.
Use and throw mentality. Anything else?
Motto of their life is live life king size.
Okay, live life king size. Yes, perfect. Anything else?
Suicide cases.
Yeah,
is
suicide
over
tendencies. Yes.
Impatient, very
expectation
impatient.
by
Impatient.
parents. See, the cause of youth
Mm.
suffering from frustration, I think one of the causes is over expectation and over stress created by parents.
Okay. Now I am asking question to all the parents. So this is a personal direct question. Why would the children become like that? What made them to become like that? They are
Sir,
not like that when they are born.
Prabhuji, we are responsible because we are giving them, we are shielding them constantly, extra precaution,
Mm.
spoon feeding them with everything,
Mm.
not letting them, take responsibility
Okay.
from a very young age.
Mm. Okay.
And also, I think sometimes it passes on from their parents also. If one of the parent or if parents in the house are a little anxious or they get into stress very fast, then I think this is what they observe and then they start imbibing and imitating their parents.
Okay. Thank you.
TV
Anyone else want to add on to this?
TV and mobile.
TV and mobile. Okay. Anyone else want to add on to this?
Peer pressure, Prabhuji.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure for the parents or for the students?
Both.
For both. Okay, perfect. Competition. Status quo and competition. Yes, yes.
Godless civilization.
Okay, don't go too far. Come to ourselves.
Very hypocrite lifestyle, Prabhuji.
Okay, you are blaming. Fine. Hypocrite.
Sorry.
So,
Sorry,
no.
Prabhuji.
No, you are coming to the judgment. No, I'm just observator. Be just observator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Prabhuji, it is
Hmm.
basically what I was told, that how the parents behave, how the parents act, that is imbibed by the child. They don't learn what we teach, they learn by the observation how the parents are there. So if the parents, whatever parents behave, the same thing gets carried out with the child.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So I'm just trying to see the same 3 points. After the child birth, first 6 months, child can't understand anything. After 6 months, the child starts speaking, murmuring something. So what do we teach to the child? This is your mama, this is your papa, this is this, and we say that you are Chinni, Munni, Punni, etc. So many names, nicknames we give. We tell the child again and again, Chinni, like that, whatever name, whatever nickname we give. So with that name, we already, that Jiva who entered into that body starts identifying with that body, and we increase that identification by giving different names to it. And then eventually, the parents act in such a way that the entire family is meant for their enjoyment. Whatever is being done in the entire family is meant for their happiness, their enjoyment. And the child becomes like the king. Child thinks that I am the king. I am the king of the entire family, entire house. Whatever I want, everything is given to me. Everything is at my disposal. And I am the doer and I am the decider. I am the kingmaker. I mean, not kingmaker. What we can say, I am the lawmaker in the entire family. So that is called Kartrutvam. The Jiva already comes to material world to enjoy, and the tendencies are nourished and increased by providing whatever the child demands. So in that way, and eventually as the time progresses, because everything is happening according to my desire and everything is meant for my enjoyment, that conception of enjoying propensity creeps in, and it increases, nourishes, increases. It goes to the extent that the entire currently it is only my family, and it goes to the extent that entire universe is meant for my enjoyment. I am the Ishvara and everything is meant for my enjoyment. So that mentality of Kartrutvam and the Ishvaratva will bind a person, will bind a Jiva perpetually in this material world. Because the knowledge is neither given in the family nor given in the school, that you are not the doer, you are not the enjoyer. This knowledge is not given in our modern education system. Even the entire modern education system currently catering onto getting into good grades, getting into good ranks, and getting into admission good colleges, and getting into good position in the big companies, and getting good salary and good name, fame, good prestige, good facilities, whatever. So that is the status quo of the modern day civilization. So that is on one side. Same thing if we see for a student who is going through the Vedic study, Vedic education system, where in the beginning years the parents are devotees and they are serving the deities in their home. They are engaging the children also in their home, and they call the child from the childhood, you are Krishna Das, you are Ram Das. So the name itself is Das. There is already Das. They always, child will ask, what do you mean by Das? Das means servant. Here there is no Ishvaratva is encouraged. Only that servitorship toward the Supreme Lord and his devotees is encouraged from the very childhood. Then when they go to school, they will study who is Ishvara, what is Jiva, what is Prakruti, what is Kala, what is all these things. And eventually when the student comes home after completion of the education, if that student properly studied, properly understood the entire the Vedic literature, especially the Sankhya properly, he will never be in wrong understanding or wrong conception that I am the enjoyer. He knows who is the enjoyer, what is enjoyed, etc., etc. So he always he understands that Atma by nature is only Sakshi, is only witness. Atma has nothing to do with the material activities and nothing to do with the results of the material activities. And because of that, from the modern context, in spite of getting a good position in the society, good job or good pay scale in a big multinational company, but that student is never becomes attached to the results of his activities. He works hard, he gets all the results, but he does not use them for one's own material enjoyment. He uses them either in the service of the Supreme Lord, if he is a devotee. Otherwise, such kind of person uses all that results in the service of the society in general. They are not at all identified with all such hi-fi opulences, facilities, position. He remains, when he understands, he knows what is what. He knows that he is only simply witness. This body is performing all the activities, he acknowledges it, and he goes on, moves on in the life. So this difference we can see from one who understands Sankhya, and otherwise we see that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, everything is meant for enjoyment, the universe is meant for enjoyment, I am the Ishvara. That can be seen from those who have not understood Sankhya. I mean, this is just to give a typical understanding, not to pinpoint any parents, not to pinpoint any students. So currently the demand is like that, so we are flowing along with that. So, but better late than never. So this chapter from Bhagavatam and chapter 2 from Bhagavad Gita are like the foundation for the development of our entire lifestyle or life, we can say. So the proper understanding of all these 28 elements, proper understanding of Sankhya, proper understanding about the distinction between the body and soul, or distinction between Ishvara, Jiva, Prakruti, Kala, Karma, and the entire material body consisting of 24 elements. It really helps us. Currently, we may not realize everything as it is, but at least let us try to understand. And with that understanding, let us take small steps as we go ahead in our life ahead. So that will help us stay away from the misunderstanding of I am the body, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. These are the three great misunderstandings that we have, that we will have, we had, we are having now, we will have in the future also, as long as we are in this material world living in a material body. But we are always remembered about these three misconceptions, so we can be careful while doing our activities. Not that I am realized, I am trying to share with what is there in the book. So let us help each other to understand it and to contemplate upon these concepts, and so that one day we will get a glimpse of realization of this. So that is the purpose, that is the focus of the study of Sankhya. Yeah, yes, Ganesh Prabhu, you want to say something?
Prabhuji, if a person is, in Sankhya Yoga, and if he is like realized, why he will work hard? He will not work as much as it to do the needful or maintain
No,
his body.
after the schooling is done, they come home. So as a matter of responsibility, as a matter of duty, they will work. So you may saying work hard. It is not necessarily whether you can say hard or not. Like they will work the way one supposed to work. In the sense, it is not that extending so much or working. I mean, slagging like donkey. Not like that. According to one's capacity, one works. If the results coming in the form of a lot of wealth, he will take it, but he will not misuse it. He will neither use it for in material enjoyment or something like that. So you cannot say that is working hard. He is working dutifully.
Okay. So will he be ambitious bound or anything?
Yeah, he will be ambitious for attaining moksha. His entire life's activities are directed towards attaining moksha. Because he already understood Sankhya properly, the result of the symptom of one who has understood Sankhya is they are on the path of moksha.
Okay.
So one who has not understood Sankhya properly, they are on the path of enjoyment.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, is this possible in Sankhya at present in this stage, at this generation?
Sorry, I did not get you. What you are saying?
Prabhuji, I think that Sankhya which happens, so at present the person who takes Sankhya Yoga, if he follows the Sankhya till the life he is supposed to till he comes home, is it possible in this age I'm talking about, in this Kali age?
See, Sankhya is, don't take it that name, perfect name as it is. See, it is very simple. Understanding what is what. When we go to school, we have so many subjects. We have physics, chemistry, physics. We understand how the nature is functioning. So many laws are there. Newton laws, this law, that law. We understand about what is force, what is weight, what is power, etc. Everything we understand. And in biology, zoology, everything we understand. How living entities are developed, evolved, etc., etc. How they are surviving, that we understand. And from social studies, we understand history and we understand geography. In geography, what do we understand? What are the different continents? What are the oceans? What are the different countries? What are the rivers? What are the mountains? What are the places? Etc. etc. All these things we understand in geography. And Sankhya is nothing but understanding the universe. The universe is made up of 28 elements, and we are trying to understand the 28 elements. Simple. As we study in the chemistry, the nature of the 108 elements, the periodic table, we understand about hydrogen, helium, oxygen, nitrogen, everything we study. We spend year after year to understand. Sankhya is something like that. Understanding what is mind, what is intelligence, what is earth, water, fire, air, ether, man, buddhi, ahankara, chetana, simple.
So it is not possible for them to go in Maya again, like that, Prabhuji? Is it that? If they come in the material world, they will not be caught by Maya?
See, it all depends on the student, the person, how much he has understood, how much he is putting into practice. Whether going into Maya or not, separate thing. If they have really understood it properly and really practicing properly, at least even if one goes into Maya, they know that they are into Maya. Those who don't know what is Maya, they don't even know that they are in Maya. Even if they go to Maya, they understand that they are in Maya. That is enough. That is more than enough.
Okay,
they repent for it, they come out eventually.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? So now Mother Devahuti will make an inquiry that, can you please go into details? Instead of describing superficial, summarily, can you go into details? That is the inquiry she is making now. Devahuti ruvacha prakrute purushasyapi lakshanam purushottama bruhi karanayorasya sat asatcha yadatmakam. Wherein she says that, Mother Devahuti said, O Supreme Lord, O Purushottama, please tell me the characteristics of Prakruti and Ishvara. Can you please talk about more in detail about Prakruti and Ishvara as the cause of the universe, which is composed of gross and subtle effects? So can you please tell in detail about what Prakruti is and how the Supreme Lord makes Prakriti evolve into the visible material elements and with visible material universe and the visible material bodies, etc., etc. Describe more about the characteristics of Prakruti and Purusha. Devahuti inquires for more details about Prakruti and Purusha. They are the cause of the universe, which is composed of gross and subtle effects. So there are so many causes, so many effects, etc. All those things I want to understand, which is acting as a cause, which is effect, so etc. etc. So for which now Lord Kapila is going to talk about Prakruti and its byproducts, everything in detail. So verse 10 talks about what is Prakruti. So previously Prakruti said that Prakruti containing three modes of material nature is accepted by Mahavishnu. By glancing upon Prakruti, Mahavishnu created all the material universes. In general, he said. Now, Lord Kapila getting into specific details about Prakruti. Yattatri gunam avyaktam nityam sat asadatmakam pradhanam prakrutim prahur avishesham visheshavat. Prakruti is called avyakta. Avyaktam. Prakruti is called avyakta because though having variety, it has a state of invisibility. In the beginning, before Mahavishnu glanced upon Prakruti, Prakruti was in a state known as avyakta, completely invisible, completely inactive. When the three gunas are in balance, where the three gunas are in equilibrium state, they are in inactive state, that time Prakruti is called as avyakta. And then it is called Pradhana because manifesting variety, it is the best, being the shelter of all the visible elements. So when Lord glances upon Prakruti, that time it is called as Pradhana because by glancing upon it, it transforms into 24 visible elements. The earth, water, fire, ether, and all the material elements are quite visible. The state when Lord glances upon Prakruti, that is called as Pradhana. And it is called Prakruti because it is the very cause of all causes and effects. Prakruti means Prakrushta Rupena Krutyati iti Prakruti. That which performs all the variety of activities in a special, unique way. That's why it is called as Prakruti. It was Prakruti which was in Avyakta platform, invisible platform, before Lord glance. And when Lord glances, it is called Pradhana. And by that glance, Pradhana gives rise to all the 24 elements, starting with Mahatma, Mahatattva, all the way up to earth. And this is called Prakruti because it does things in a unique way. And it is eternal. It is also called Nityam because it is eternal. It is as eternal as the Supreme Lord Ishvara and as eternal as Jiva. Prakruti, whether it is in the equilibrium state or transformed state, it is eternal. It is not temporary. Its manifestations in the form of the material body or in the form of the material universe may be temporary. But Prakruti in its original state, it is eternal. So these are the different names and different attributes of Prakruti. So the four characteristics are invisible. It is best, being the shelter of all elements. It is the cause of all causes, and it is eternal. So Avyakta means the invisible because it has an invisible state, though it still possesses particularly due to the balance of the three gunas. So before the glance of Mahavishnu, it remains inactive and invisible, and all the three modes are in equilibrium state. That's why it is called Avyakta. And when Lord is glancing, it is called Pradhana because it's the chief element, Pradhana, the Pramukha, the main, because manifesting variety after the glance of Mahavishnu, it is the best among all partial forms, which are its effects. being the shelter of particular elements like Mahatattva. So after giving rise to the birth of Mahatattva, Ahankara, mind, intelligence, Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Panchamahabhuta, Tarmatras, but among all the elements, Prakruti, Pradhana is best. Prakruti is best because it is the very source of all the elements. That's why it is called Pradhana. And it is called Prakruti, the original form, because it is the cause of the other causes and effects, such as Mahatattva being the very Swarupa of what follows. So Prakruti, the original form of material nature. So that's why it is called Prakruti. It is the very cause of all the other subsequent causes. So in that way. And it is called Nityam because it is eternal since it remains as the final cause even after the universal destruction. So after the creation is done, Prakruti is seen in the form of the material universe, the visible material universe. After the annihilation, the 24 elements of the material universe merge back into Prakruti, and Prakruti enters back into the body of Mahavishnu. And it will still remain in the body of Karmadaksha Vishnu as Prakruti itself. And when the next time comes out for the next creation, the same Prakruti comes out of skin pores of Mahavishnu as Pradhana. And then Lord, glancing upon that Pradhana, produces all the material universes. So these are the different names and attributes of Prakruti. It is either called as Avyakta or Pradhana or Prakruti or Nitya. These are the different names of Prakruti. What is indescribable is called Pradhana. It cannot be talked about what it is. What is Pradhana? So it is nothing but the combination of three modes. Then what are three modes? We may say Tattva, Raja, Tama. Means what? So we may not be able to tell exactly what it is. That's why it is called as describable is called Pradhana. Because it is superior, it is called Prakruti. Its indescribable nature is, though consisting of three gunas, it is invisible. Since they are not visible, we cannot talk about their attributes. So it becomes visible with the gunas. Only when Lord glances upon Prakruti, it becomes visible in the form of the 24 elements. And we only see the effects of the 24 elements. We can't see Prakruti, we can't see the effects of Prakruti. But we can see the secondary effects of the 24 elements, which are the effects of Prakruti. So something like that. So this we study in Bhagavad Gita 14th chapter. Mama yonir mahat brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham. Sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. So Mama yonir mahat brahma. Mahat brahma means Prakruti or Pradhana. Its another name is also Mahat Brahma, the great Brahman. So that is the place of impregnation in which I impregnate all the living entities. Garbham refers to all the living entities that are going to take birth and perform activities in this material universe. That is called Garbha. So Mahavishnu impregnate this Garbha into the Mahat Brahma, into the yoni of Mahat Brahma. So from that impregnation, Sambhava Sarva Bhutanam Tato Bhavati Bharata. All the living entities will manifest. That means the entire universe will manifest from the Prakruti, and all our bodies will manifest within that Prakruti, because of which we can perform all the variety of activities in this material world. So that is the understanding. Though it is composed of cause and effect, it is eternal. The cause is Pradhana, the effect is the universe. So Prakruti is called as Pradhana. By glancing upon Pradhana, Mahavishnu impregnates her with all the living entities, all the Garbham, and then the effect is, the result is the entire universe consisting of unlimited planetary systems, consisting of unlimited variety of living entities, containing different variety of material bodies, something like that. Though it is seen as temporary things such as earth, we see it in the form of earth or the wood or anything. But all these have lifetime. Everything is, all these things in the material world are temporary. They are not permanent. Though the material elements are temporary and they have variety such as Mahatattva and all the different variety of material elements, it is also without variety when in the condition of balanced gunas before the glance of Mahavishnu. So before Mahavishnu glanced upon Prakruti, Prakruti does not have any variety. It is in equilibrium state, inactive state, invisible state. But when the Lord glances, the invisible, inactive Prakruti becomes active and becomes variety and becomes so many visible forms. The variety in the form of so many things that we come across, we see. different variety of people, different variety of objects, different variety of places, everything variety is nothing but the manifestation of Prakruti. What possesses variety as substance after Lord's glance remains invisible before the glance of Mahavishnu, without variety in another form known as Prakruti or known as Avyakta. So these are the different qualities, different attributes of Prakruti. Just see, Prakruti belongs to Lord. By glancing upon Prakruti, that Prakruti gives forth to the entire visible material universe. And we are also given an opportunity to come to this material universe, which is a foreign land. And we were given a body in which we can live and we can perform activities, we can accomplish our desires. But as long as we are living in this material world, we say that I am this body and everything belongs to this body is mine. The home, the vehicle, the property, the bank balance, the land, everything that is connected to our body. And we say that it is mine, it is mine, it is mine, it is mine. And because of that mine, there are so many quarrels, so many fights, so much, what we can say, so many struggles and so many misunderstandings and so many life-throbbing situations. Everything comes because of that misidentity. This is me and everything connected to this body is mine. So this is the distinction between the proper understanding of Sankhya and improper understanding of Sankhya, or no understanding of Sankhya one would get into. So it is like that. So then when the Lord glances upon Prakruti, how that Prakruti, now which is called as Pradhana, transforms into variety. What is that variety? That variety is mentioned in the next 3-4 verses. So it says that Panchabir Brahma Chaturbir Dashabhi Tata Etat Chaturvimshatikam Ghanam Pradhanikam Vidu. So here Mahat Brahma, Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma. So Lord actually impregnates into that Mahat Brahma, which is the place of impregnation, which is nothing but Prakruti or Pradhana. That Pradhana, which is nothing but Mahat Brahma, transforms into various products. They are enumerated as 5, 5, 4, and 10. Panchabir, Chatubir, Dashabir. 5, 5, 4, and 10. And they are all called as Mahat Brahma. Nothing but Pradhana. They are all called as Pradhanas, byproducts, etc. And we always hear this phrase that Sarvam Kalau Idam Brahma. Everything that we see around us is nothing but the manifestation of Brahma. So that Brahman in one sense is nothing but Prakruti. So it is also called as Pradhana or Avyakta or Nitya. By the glance of Mahavishnu, that Pradhana, that Avyakta becomes Vyakta, or that Pradhana gives forth to 24 material elements in the category of 5, 5, 4, and 10. Total becomes 24. So what are the products of Pradhana? The 5 means 5 refers to 5 gross elements, other 5 refers to 5 tanmatras, the 10 refers to 10 senses, 4 refers to 4 antakaranas, mind, intelligence, false ego, and chitta. So these are the 24 byproducts of Pradhana. So the wise know that what is produced from Pradhana, which are enumerated as 5, 5, and 14 to be worshipped as Brahman. Thus the products are enumerated. So the people in knowledge, they understand that everything that is around us is nothing but the combination of these 24 elements, and these 24 elements are manifested from Pradhana or Prakruti or Avyakta or Nitya, which is also called as Mahat Brahma. So in that way. And then what are they? What are the 5, 5, 10, 4 that is mentioned in the next 2 verses? Mahabhutani Panchaiva Bhur Apo Agnir Marunnaba Tanmatrani cha Tatvani Gandha Dini Matani Chimatani Me. The 5 great elements are earth, water, fire, air, ether. Mahabhutani Panchaiva Bhur. earth, apo, water, agni, fire, marut, air, naba, ether. And the objects of senses are considered to be 5, starting with smell. Tanmatrani cha tatvani, gandhadini, matanime. So like that. The 5 gross elements are earth, water, fire, and ether. And 5 sense objects are 5 tanmatras. They are called a tanmatra. Smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. They are the 5 qualities of these 5 elements. The earth as smell, water as taste, fire as form, air as touch, ether as sound. So like that. The 5 are enumerated. Next sentence. Indriyani dashastotram tvagdrigrasana vakarnau charanau medram payu dashama uchate. That 10 senses are the ear, Shrotram is ear, Tvag means skin, Drig means eye, Rasana means tongue, Nasika means nose, Vak means voice, Karnau means hands, Karau means hands, Charanau feet, and Medram penis, Payu that means genital, and Payu means the anus. These are the 10 senses. So among the 10 we have 5 Jnanendriyas: ears, skin, eye, tongue, and nose. These are the 5 Jnanendriyas: Shrotram, Tvag, Drug, Rasana, and Nasika. And we have 5 Karmendriyas: voice, hands, feet, penis, and anus. These are the 5 Karmendriyas. So with the help of these 5 Jnanendriyas, we acquire information from in this world. And with the help of these 5 Karmendriyas, we perform various activities that we want to perform. With voice, speak, hands collect things and give things away, feet walk from one place to other place, penis for procreation, anus for excretion, etc., etc. All the activities are accomplished by these 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas. And then mano buddhir ahankaras chittam iti antaratmakam chaturda lakshate bedo vritya lakshana rupaya. The internal sense organ is divided into 4. So the previous verse talks about dasha indriyani. Indriyani dashendriyani. These are called 10 external senses. With these 10 senses, we interact with the external world. With the 5 jnanendriyas, we get information from the external world. With ears, we hear sounds from others. With skin, we touch sensation of other objects. We touch table, we touch chair, we touch wind, etc. Nowadays, the wind is very cold. With eyes, we see things around us. With tongue, we taste whatever we eat, whatever we drink. With nostril, we smell across what is there around us, whether good smell, bad smell, or neutral smell, whatever it is. And with 5 karmendriyas, we perform various activities in relation to the external world. These are called bahya karna, or external senses. And we have 5 internal senses, or 4 internal senses. These are called 4 internal sense organs. It is divided into 4. Mind, man, intelligence, buddhi, ahankara is ego, and chitta is chitta, or chetana. Because of their distinctive functions. The mind has different functions to do, buddhi has different activities to do, ahankara has different activities to do, chitta has different activities to do. We are going to study about all of them in the future verses. Every element is uniquely different from other elements. Every element has unique function to perform. So we understand which function belongs to what element. So when that understanding is clearly there, so we never misidentify that we are the doer. When the function of the mouth is to speak, so when the speech is delivered, we are supposed to say the mouth is speaking. We should never say that I am speaking. So something like that. So antaratmakam means the antakarana or the internal sense organ. They are distinguished by separate functions. Etavan eva sankyato brahmana sa gunasya Sannivesho maya prokto yakkala pancha vimshaka. So what I have described as the situation of the Brahman as the material world, of which time is the 25th element, has thus been enumerated. So Mamayonir Mahat Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadamiham. Mahavishnu is saying that I glance upon Prakruti and I impregnate Prakruti with Jivas. So because of which everything is manifested. What all manifested by that impregnation? By that impregnation, they are manifested 5 Panchamahabhutas, 5 Tanmataras, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, and 4 Antakaranas. The 24 elements are manifested. In addition to them, there is 25th manifestation also. The 25th element is called Kala. Sagunasya means of the material world starting with Mahatattva. The material world, creation of the material world starts with the creation of Mahatattva, etc. Time is described in 2 ways. It is the 25th element and a particular condition of Prakruti. So time is the 25th element. So it is it's like that. So in addition to the 24 plus 3, we also have the 28th element. 3 we already discussed: Ishvara, Prakruti, and Jiva. We saw between the relation between them. And Prakruti gives rise to 24 elements. We saw who they are, what they are. About them we discuss in the future verses, in the future classes. But the 24 are there. 24 plus 3, 27. The 28th element is called as Kala. So what is Kala? What are the characteristics of Kala will be discussed from 15 to 18. So that we will discuss in the next class. So we'll stop here, having understood what are the 28 elements of Sankhya, and we will we will see what are their characteristics and what are their qualities and activities in the future verses of this chapter. Understanding which we actually understand how this world is working, how our human body is functioning, who we really are. Are we the doer? Are we the enjoyer? Are we the body in which we are living? So are we the soul in which we are living? So etc etc will be enabled with the study of this chapter. At least we may not realize completely, but at least we theoretically understand. Let us try to understand theoretically in this chapter, going through step by step. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can I please see the 14th text, 14th slide, please?
I will share all the slides. Don't worry. You will get.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any questions before closing? Is it clear, or am I increasing your confusion?
No, Prabhuji, it is very clear, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Chitta is totally different from Atma.
Yes, Chitta is different from Atma. We'll understand what Chitta is all about in the future verses. We have already seen Atma. Atma is all just witness, which is an amsha of the Supreme Lord. It is a witness. And what is Chitta, we'll start to understand starting from 19th verse onwards.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, is it equivalent to Chitta means consciousness?
Prabhuji, we'll discuss when we go to the 19th verse onwards.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any queries based on today's discussion? See, no problem. Kindly ponder over what we discussed today. And I raised the discussion just to help us understand where we are lack in today's modern education system, what is lacking in our modern education system. So better late than never, let us try to understand it. Let us teach our next generation this particular aspect of proper knowledge. So this, which acts like the basis for all of our entire knowledge, and which keeps our life in a proper order. So because of this particular understanding is not there from the very beginning of our life, and the modern mindset is grown up, everything should happen at fingertips. So as soon as I want, things should be done. Sometimes things don't work like that. So people gets into a lot of anxiety, gets into stress, and even they develop suicidal tendencies, etc., etc. So that is one of the big problem in the modern society. In one way, from our Bhagavatam, we can see that due to lack of proper education in understanding of what is what. The people might be great intelligent, they might crack so many codes and they might invent so many new things. That is all fine, that is all there, that is all okay, but the fundamentals are not clear. So when fundamentals are not clear, so it becomes very difficult to handle the difficulties in the material world. So in that way, so kindly ponder over the subject matter, and we have many more weeks to discuss the entire chapter. So that time we will get more details. Yes, Mataji, Savitri Mataji, please.
Yeah, Prabhuji, this is Rajesh.
Okay.
I have one question. Prabhuji, you mentioned that when Mahavishnu glanced at the Prakriti, the manifestation of this thing happened. So, how do you reconcile that with the creation? The Brahma has created the Srishti. How do you reconcile that with this?
See, by Mahavishnu's glance upon Prakriti, it produced all the 24 elements. And Mahavishnu himself, combining all the 24 elements, created all the unlimited universes and all the unlimited planetary systems. But Brahmaji, combining those 24 elements, he has given us the human body, and he has given us the Devata body for the Devatas, he has given the bird's body for the birds, he has given the cow's body for the cow. All the bodies were made by Brahma. It is Brahma's intelligence. He had created the variety of our biological, physical, and subtle bodies. That is Brahma's part. Mahavishnu created the universe, Brahma created all our bodies. So that's how we have to understand.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Hare Krishna. So if there are no more queries, we'll stop here. Mohanjoshi Prabhu, we can stop here.
Prabhuji, can we have a small kirtan? If
yes. And from my side, we'll stop.
Kirtan. Yeah, yes.